Good morning, Maple Grove. Welcome to the beautiful Maple Grove Community Center. My name is Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. I have the honor of being your MC this morning, basically moving things along and getting you out of here by 9 o'clock. Thank you all for coming. This is a special event for the city of Maple Grove. As most of you know, this has been held in conjunction with the local Chamber of Commerce in past years. This year, the city doing it on its own, and obviously from the turnout, it is going to work this morning. We have a great lineup for you this morning. The mayor has a power-packed slide presentation. Correct, Mayor Stephenson? About 20 minutes of an update of what's happened in the city over the past year and also a look ahead. We will also have some time to talk about Twin West Chamber of Commerce and a workforce initiative that is in the works. There have been some talks between the city and Twin West about that, and we're going to give you an update. And also we'll have some time, you're wondering why these chairs are set over here. We're going to bring some of the city staff leadership up. And at the end of the time available, we'll have some question and answer time. So if you have questions for some of the department heads, think of those throughout the mornings. Certainly the food is out. If you want to continue to grab something during the program, you can do that. There's also displays on the window side of the room that talk a little bit about Park and Rec, also the business in the city and some of the future development opportunities. Very back table, you'll find information about a number of things happening in the city, as well as the concert on the lawn, which you've probably heard about, which will be coming up this fall. You're probably eyeing those coffee cups on your table. The good news is they're for you to take home, so take those with you. And later on in the program, those beautiful centerpieces, we have a way we're going to give those away in a very quick fashion. So with that, I would like to introduce the mayor of Maple Grove, Mark Stephenson, to do some welcomes and also the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Stephenson.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you everyone for being here this morning. It's a wonderful turnout and a wonderful occasion for us to have as a city to talk to our business owners and our members of our community. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'm going to ask Fire Chief Tim Bush and Police Chief Eric Werner come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If we could just ask everybody to face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As I said, I thank you all for being here this morning, and I'm here to talk about the state of the city on behalf of myself and my fellow city council members. Each of them is here this morning, so I'm going to introduce each of them. Councilmember Karen Jagger, Councilmember Phil Lee, Councilmember Judy Hansen, and Councilmember Christy Barnett. We're also thankful to have a number of our locally elected and state elected officials here with us today as well. And so I want to introduce them as well. So we have the new Hennepin County Sheriff, David Hutchinson. Kristen Robbins from the Minnesota House of Representatives. Kristen. Kristen Bonner, also from the Minnesota House of Representatives. And then we also have Zach Rodewald, who is the representative from Congressman Dean Phillips' office. And I'm also thankful to have a number of our Osseo school board members with us this morning. They are Mike Hostafi, Kelsey Dawson Walton, and Tanya Simmons. And last but certainly not least, Jennifer DeJournet, our Three Rivers Park District representative. I think that the turnout here today and the turnout of our representatives also reflects upon our city and really the greatness of the city of Maple Grove. The city of Maple Grove is excellent. It has been excellent for a number of years. And we continue to see enormous growth within our city. So one of the things that we're going to talk about this morning is not only what's the growth that's happened, but also the growth that will be coming. In 2019, we had about $97 million of new residential growth, $26 million of apartments. Industrial, we had about $25 million of new projects, and commercial about $15 million, for about $163 million. We've seen our total city assessed value continue to increase, and for 2019, we expect the value to be approximately $10 billion. Maple Grove's bond rating continues to be a AAA bond rating. It's one of the things that we as a council are very proud of, that we continue to have the highest bond rating that you can have. It certainly benefits our community, our citizens, to have that bond rating that results in the lowest bond rates that you can generally obtain in the market. This allows us to continue to work in a very constructive fashion for our city, doing the bonds that we need to do at the most commercially feasible rate, and obviously it saves money in property taxes. With regards to our 2019 budget and property tax levy, we saw about a 2% increase in our budget. We're now at a little over $40 million a year for our annual budget. I think importantly, we as a city council have worked hard on these type of budget issues, and so what it has resulted in, this year's budget resulted in about a $2.61 decrease in the average home value in the city for their property taxes from the city of Maple Grove for the year. And we think that's a great statement for our city, that we're able to continue to grow, continue to do this in a very budget-friendly and cost-conscious way, so that our taxpayers can get the most money, most services for their buck. And speaking of new services, one of the things that we are really happy about is that we have opened our own passport office in the City Hall at Maple Grove. We opened it in April of 2018. It's inside the Government Center on the second floor. You can get your new passports there. You can get your passport photo services done at the same time. It's a very easy process. We've had thousands and thousands of passports and passport photos already taken there. It's a very busy location. It's so busy, in fact, that we've actually had to add an additional half-time employee because of all the passport photos that we're taking. One of the things that's wonderful is the way we've worked that operation is it's now also pays for itself, so that we as a city, when you come and you have to pay those small fees for your passports, that is significant enough for us to pay for the staff that we have. So we think that's a great addition to our community, a great addition to our city hall, and a great service for our citizens that are located here in Maple Grove. Obviously, one of the things that most everybody wants to hear about today is the new development, the new commercial development. And the thing that I always hear the most about is, of course, the Hy-Vee out at Bass Lake Road and 101. So we'll start with that today. For those of you that live out there, you know why, but it's the most exciting thing that's happened, I think, in Western Maple Grove in a number of years. So people out there are very, very excited about this new Hy-Vee and its commercial location and what it's going to bring with it. We expect that Hy-Vee will be open out there in the late 2019, and there's plenty of space out there along with their new facility to have some additional, whether it's restaurants or a gas station or other retail type events. We'll see that grow over the next year out there, but for those of you that live out there, I know that you'll be excited that you don't have to drive all the way across the freeway to get food and groceries. So it's a great development for our city, and we're very excited that they're finally going to be building the Hy-Vee out there. One of the other things that we're excited about is the continued development of the Grove up by the Maple Grove Hospital. Over the last year, we've seen significant growth and significant new restaurants and stores up there, and those include Raising Cane's. If you have a child that's in high school, you know where Raising Cane's is. Rock Elm Tavern, it's a new, we're very happy, it's a locally owned business, a restaurant up there. The same is true of Rosati's Pizza, a pizza place that comes up to Minnesota from Chicago. And then we have Steve's Auto World that's open. We're also expecting a new Caribou up there. We obviously need more coffee stars in Maple Grove, but that's the way it is throughout the country. And so we're excited about this because obviously we know that that area has struggled for a number of years to fill up, and now it's finally filling up in a way that's very productive for the city. Also, obviously, this is in the area where the hospital is, where the various medical providers are located in our city, and we're continuing to look forward to future growth of the Maple Grove Hospital and the various medical professional office buildings that are going up there as well. We see that demand continuing to grow, and we expect that that we'll see some additional new healthcare providers coming into that area of the community in the near future. And we need to turn then to the retail, the shops of Arbor Lakes. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but the shops is going to be doing an update of its retail plaza area. They're going to be changing that sort of pedestrian plaza to allow for a vehicle traffic to go through that area. It'll also continue to provide actually greater pedestrian amenities along the sides, so we're very excited about the new design. They're going to keep the businesses open during the construction there, but it's very exciting for those retailers. Those retailers have wanted to have some vehicle traffic going down in front of their stores, sort of a place for you to park. And so the shops is going to accommodate those retailers, and at the same time we're going to see some new additional restaurants and retailers coming into the shops as well. So that's an exciting development in our city, and you'll see some really exciting changes that will happen there throughout the next year. We have more retail, the Village of Arbor Lakes. That's the sort of what I'll call the Dorn piece. It's sort of over there on the northeast corner of Elm Creek Boulevard and Hemlock Lane. We have several new retail additions that have happened there, including Sleep Number, the Wellhaven Pet Clinic, and Wings Financial have located there. One thing that we're excited about is that Wahlberg is going to open a restaurant there at that location here in the near future. And we're going to see some additional food and health-related stores there as well. One thing that you can see as you drive by there is you can see the 2 new hotels that are going up as well as the new apartment buildings that are there. So Spring Hill Suites and Residence Inn are under construction there, and they should be opening, I would think, sometime in the fall. Now, many of you who've been up in the gravel mining area, and as I was talking to someone, it wasn't so long ago that the gravel mining area had a small 2-lane dirt road called Hemlock Lane that went up a big hill and came down a big hill, and if you weren't careful, you drove off the side of the hill. But that's for those of you who have been here a long time. The Arbor Lakes Business Park is an exciting new development for us as a city. It's something we've been working on for years, and now we finally have some of the new first phase that's nearing completion. Loom is relocating 130 jobs from Bloomington, several locations in Bloomington, to be in their new 290,000 square foot headquarters here in Maple Grove, right along the road there. And they'll be continuing to add new jobs as we go forward. You see the other building that's gone up as well. So we're very excited about that. We're going to see a lot of continued growth and development in that area, the gravel mining area, over the next couple of years. It's become a very interesting and dynamic area for businesses to locate to, and we're excited about that. The Arbor Lakes Corporate Center is a new building that is going to be going up here shortly. It's on the former Hilger waste site, so if you've been by there, you've been seeing the vehicles out there, the dump trucks and various things, removing what is some tires, some other debris from the site. We received several $1 million as the city to clean up the site. That's been going on this winter, and we're looking forward to the new 200,000 square foot building being built there. They'll start here in the summer and they'll end in the fall, and it's an exciting new development because it's on a piece of land that has stood idle just south of the the UPS facility there in Maple Grove for several years. It's sort of been a difficult site for us to develop, and we're excited that we're finally able to move forward with a new development on that site. We also have the Park 81 complex that's just north of there. That's on the old Wells Concrete site, just south of Highway 81. We're going to see about 850,000 square feet of new development in those locations. We have moved forward with a couple of new projects up there in the Park 81. I know that we approved something recently for a new building up there, and we're excited about that development coming forward in our city. It's a small retailer that promises certain delivery within 2 hours. So we'll see how that works. You know, one of the things that's very exciting about our city as we've grown out over the years is master planning new development areas, such as the gravel mining area. And one of the things that we've been working on very much over the last year is the master plan for the 105th Avenue area. So that is the area that's located, as you can see, north of Highway 610, east of 94, and sort of south of 81. So we're going to be seeing a lot of new industrial, commercial, and residential development coming into this area of our community over the next 5 years. We've been working with the neighbors on the north side of the parcel, the large single-family residents, to make sure that we accommodate their needs and understand what their concerns are as we move forward. Certainly, we have a couple of apartment projects that have been proposed for the east side of the development already. We have a couple of buildings already in the north, or in the south end here by 610 and Maple Grove Parkway. We have the Osseo Mutual building, and we're going to see additional commercial development come into that area of the community shortly. Obviously, this area has been opened up with the completion of 610, or I should more accurately say, the near completion of 610. We need to have 610 completed as a roadway, and we've been working with that with our state and federal and county representatives to try and make sure that that interchange is fully completed here. We're also master planning the northwest corner of the city of Maple Grove as well. We don't have a ton of development land left, but obviously one of the big parcels we have left is sort of the northwest corner of the city. And so we've been working with the owners up there and with the developers up there to see how this project will develop out over the years. It's a significant area of land. Obviously the west end will be residential in nature. The east end will be more mixed use in nature as well. And we will continue to work with the landowners. Obviously one of the big entities that's up in this area is the Hindu temple. We continue to work with them and their projects. They recently had a solar array approved for that area of town for their property. And so we continue to work with those neighbors to make sure that we're going to get a nice development up there that will accommodate the needs of the community and be great for the new residents that will come to our city. The next thing I want to talk about is the gravel mining area and that we're going to be moving forward with here shortly. For those of you who've been here, obviously slowly but surely we are using up and building on the gravel mining area. It wasn't that long ago that essentially the whole part of this map that is south of Weaver Lake Road or 85th Avenue was all gravel mine. Those of you who've been here a few years remember when the Cub was first built. That was sort of the west end of the gravel mining area. We've been working sort of back east towards where the operations are located as would they complete their gravel mining operations. And so we have this new project area. We're master planning this area. We see that the primary growth will be south of Elm Road or Elm Creek Boulevard for a while. The area along I-94 will continue to be planned as office. So we're looking for sort of the high quality, large format office and mixed use buildings in this area. Obviously at the north end of this area, we now have a loom in those couple of business park buildings that are being built, but we certainly continue to look forward to that continued growth in our community. Next, I'm going to talk about some residential area, and that's the master planning of the Elm Road area down on the very southern border with Plymouth. It's right east of Vicksburg, and so it's an area of land where most of the people who live there are on 5, 10, 20 acre parcels. It's an environmentally sensitive area as well, and so we have to be careful as we go forward and plan that area to see what we're going to do and how we're going to do it so it fits with the topography of the land and works for the residents in that area. And now we come to one of the always the favorite topics for me. It's the continuing efforts on Highway 610 and some other related projects in the community. There's going to be a small project that essentially is going to shut down I-94 for about 3 years. But not really. But what we are excited about is that I-94 is going to be worked on over the next 3 years here in a corridor that goes from essentially the East Fish Lake interchange up to Rogers. And so we're going to be looking at, they're going to hopefully fix the interchange access on 610. With that comes an additional lane that will go north to Rogers. Hopefully the changes within this corridor will help not only relieve the congestion in Maple Grove, but relieve the congestion sort of throughout this area going north and west towards St. Cloud. Obviously, this is just a part of the I-94 project that's being done by MnDOT over the next 3 years, 4 years. They have additional projects that are going north towards St. Cloud. And we're very hopeful that as a part of this project that you're going to see additional lanes, you're going to see additional movement, and we're going to finally see the completion of Highway 610 in a way that finalizes that project that was first started with federal funding 30 years ago. That project needs to be completed. 610 needs to be completed. I've been saying that for the 18 years I've been the mayor. So this is, as I've said before, Highway 610 has become sort of what I will call our traditional European cathedral projects. It appears to be a project that when you started it, you know you'd never live to see the completion of it. So, one of the exciting things that we've also done as a city is we've put in place a wetland bank. You know, when you have these developments in our community, we have a fair amount of wetland areas. Sometimes our developments, whether they're commercial or residential, impact a wetland. And with a wetland bank, what we're doing is we're taking a significant area of land. And so it's about 70 acres of land that we're going to have restored into wetlands. And what we can then do is we use these wetland restoration projects to allow other developments to occur in other parts of the city. There's a wetland bank. We accredited that to the wetland bank, and then this wetland area will be restored to its natural state. It will be a very wonderful wetland area in the city of Maple Grove. And we think that it will be the largest wetland bank in Hennepin County. It's an environmental asset that will be great. We look forward to it being in existence. It should be helpful in our community and helpful for our wildlife that are here and those that stop on the way of migration. You know, one of the things that it used to be is that Rice Lake used to be one of the largest stopping points for the migration routes, and when that changed, we'll have this wetland bank. So it's a significant asset for the community and something that's exciting for us. Residential development remains strong in our city, and you know, I've been saying that for many, many years and expecting that sooner or later that the residential development will slow down. But it hasn't. We continue to see traditional products. We continue to see townhomes and single-family detached homes. We've seen a lot of apartment growth, I know, over the last 2-3 years, and that's an issue that we as a city are looking at to make sure that as our apartment development and our townhome development growth goes forward, that we're making sure that these apartments and townhomes are located in the appropriate spots related to transit, transportation, and other elements, so that we make sure that we locate them within the community in a way that makes sense long term. I think that's one of the things that we as a council have an obligation to do, is to make sure that the development makes sense for today, tomorrow, and 10 years and 20 years from now. Because when you develop a city, you have one chance, and you have one chance only. You can redevelop a city, but if you don't develop a city the right way to start with, it's really hard to fix it. And so that is one of the things that I think we as a council, whether it's on the industrial, commercial, or residential side, we really put a lot of focus and effort in to make sure that we're doing it right the first time, and making sure that the developers do it right the first time, so that we don't have problems down the road 10 and 20 years. And one of the things that we've done that I think helps this process, we put a new electronic permitting and plan review in place. Obviously, with the advent of all the electronic issues and abilities that we have today that we never had before. We can now take the plans that come in, review them electronically, show what's wrong on them electronically to the developers or to whoever's building the project, and get the information back to that developer or that person who's seeking a permit. So the permitting process works faster. Obviously, one of the things that we oftentimes hear on a city side is that, you know, your processes are too slow for us. And I think that one of the things that Maple Grove has always been known for is that through our planning department, we work efficiently, we work effectively, and we get back to you quickly on your plans. We want to make sure that continues to happen. So that's one of the reasons we put this electronic permitting in place. It's a new method to make sure that we get done with things as quickly and as effectively as possible. And we've done the same thing for the mobility of our field inspectors. We've continued to purchase these laptops and mounts and other docking stations so that they can work in their vehicles, they can write their notes to themselves right at their location, so that when they do the actual field inspections, they can immediately do the inspection, take the notes, transmit them to City Hall, and so that the process works, again, more effectively and more efficiently for the city, for the developers, and then also it's effective in helping reduce the costs. One of the big challenges that we as a city see is that we have a lot of retirements that have happened over the last year. We have seen a lot of retirements that we expect will come over the next 5 years. Amazingly, 22% of our staff will be eligible for retirement over the next 5 years. And so we as a city have spent some time thinking about this and making sure that we're doing cross-training to make sure that succession planning is in place. We are looking down the road to make sure that we're trying to train our staff so that if someone retires, that there's someone there hopefully to step in and fill those shoes. We prefer to promote from within if possible, and that's one of the things that we as a city are focusing on is how do we effectuate the succession training so that we as a city continue to operate in the most effective, efficient manner. As we know, these retirements are going to be coming through the system. And sort of a couple of the fire changes that we've seen, I just wanted to note, we have some fire department leadership changes, and Chris Kummer has become the deputy fire chief, and Patrick Ferens has also become the deputy fire chief of prevention. It's exciting that we have these continued changes. We understand that people retire, and so as a result of that, we have to bring on some additional new staff. And one of the new staff changes that we've had this year is we have our new dogs. So for those that you have not know about this or seen this, is something very exciting for our city. We have 2 new canine dogs that have come to our scene. Kalo is the one that has now been working for a few months. It's been very, very successful with Officer Stewart. It's exciting for us as a city to have a canine program once again, and we're excited that we continue to move forward that we now have a second dog. The second dog's officer handler is Officer Goggins. And Chief, I don't know if we were having a name contest, correct?
We'll have a name on Friday.
We'll have a name for the second dog on Friday, and so it's very exciting for us to have an effective and efficient canine program once again. And one of the things that I think that we wanted to just bring up and let everyone know is that we have put together this holiday retail crime initiative, that these cameras that can be put in place. We work with the businesses, we work with the shops, we work with the other retail entities to try and help reduce the crime in our community, reduce the crime in the retail areas by having this unit available, have this unit operating. It does do a very effective job of reducing crime because people see the cameras, they know that they will be on camera, and so it reduces their desire to commit crime. As we move forward, one of the things that's been very exciting for us and one of the things that we're really trying to do as a city is trying to expand the range that we have. The gun range that we have is exciting. We operate with 19 other organizations currently. It's a gun range that needs to be expanded We need to modernize some of our training facilities in that gun range. We need to expand the number of bays that we have for shooting as well. I think that one of the things that we think is very important as we modernize these type of facilities is that it's important to have sort of the virtual simulators in, integrating these concepts of de-escalation and crisis intervention as a part of our police training. One of the things that we obviously want to have a lot of focus on is how do we de-escalate a situation? How do we make sure that when we're involved in a crisis intervention, it doesn't result in some type of violent crime being committed? We don't want to have our officers in those situations, but it's important that they understand and know how to de-escalate situations so that they don't have to use whether it's a gun or a taser. We don't want that. We want to de-escalate it so that it just simply is a situation that is resolved without that type of force. And so that's one of the reasons that we want to expand the North Range as well. It'll help provide that additional training facilities for not only our city, but all the other organizations that use our North Gun Range for training. I know that the Sheriff's Department uses it, the surrounding police departments use it as their training facility, and it's something that's very important for our communities here in the northwest part of the cities. Then I just want to briefly talk about the park system update. We're completing a park system update. We've had extensive community engagement. We want to make sure that we are designing our parks not only in a way that works historically, but also for a way that's going to work into the future. One of the things that we've seen is we've expanded our pickleball courts. Obviously, pickleball has become a tremendous sort of idea and a sport that a lot of people want to engage in, so we've expanded those courts. One of the new things that we're going to do is we're going to bring in a new cricket pitch. We have a significant number of members in our community that would like to engage in cricket, and so we are going to build a cricket facility up in the Boundary Creek area. I think it's exciting for us that we're also going to be doing a study of the Gleason Fields to repurpose them for a baseball complex. That is one of the things that's exciting for us that's going to be coming up in the next couple of years for us to complete. And one of the things that we are in the process of completing this year is the new Fernbrook Fields. Many of you may know that up north of the Maple Grove High School, we are in the process of completing a facility that will have 4 turf fields. It will have lights, and it's really purposed for football, lacrosse, and soccer. We have partnerships with all 3 of those local club organizations. We're working with the Osseo area schools as well on this project, and this project will open in the midsummer, so it may not be open for the early summer activities, but certainly the high school plans to be using it for the fall activities, and certainly for all the fall activities within our city. These facilities will be open and available. It's going to be a beautiful new facility. It's going to be an exciting new facility. I know that a number of different groups are talking about bringing their statewide tournaments and events to this location because they know it's an exciting new location that provides really a great service to our community because they know that on these artificial turf fields that the events will occur. One of the problems with the grass fields is very typically in the springtime a lot of events get canceled because of the rain and the weather, and they don't want to have the fields destroyed. So this will be a great advantage for us. Now, the community center is also, we've been here in this community center for a period of time now. It's hard to believe that this facility opened first in 1997. So we're looking at what and how do we modernize this facility, how do we modernize this campus, how do we increase its capacity for usage. We're really at a point where it's hard to get additional usage out of the facility without some additional amenities or changes, so we're looking forward to doing that, and we're looking forward to sometime next year really being able to talk about what our plans are to go forward. And a couple other things I just want to talk about really quickly that we're excited about and that we're proud about is that we're going to be building a Veterans Memorial in our new Central Park. So sort of on the south end of the park, we're going to be building a monument that will be a memorial to our local fallen soldiers. We're working together with the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Committee for the fundraising effort for this facility. Construction will start this spring, and it'll be completed this summer, and we're really excited to have that as an additional element to our Central Park. It's a fitting tribute to those who've served our country, and we think it's appropriate for us to, as a city, have that type of memorial in our city. So I want to thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for listening to my rather lengthy presentation, and I certainly wish you the best, and if you have questions at the end, we'll certainly be available to answer all those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Stephenson. As you can see, a lot has happened in the city over the past year and some great things moving ahead. And again, the mayor will be part of the group over here afterwards for some question and answer. But to keep us moving along, Shannon, Brent, if you want to come up, I will step out of the way so you can begin the technology changeover. You may have heard the words workforce initiative. And what does that mean? What could that look like for the city of Maple Grove? Again, it was important for the city to have business leaders in the room today, and I think that has happened. And you should be very interested in what's going to be talked about. It's in conjunction with the Twin West Chamber of Commerce. So with that introduction, hand it over to Shannon and Brent to tell us more about workforce initiative.
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you for this opportunity. We look forward to the partnership. So I thought I would start a little bit. My name is Shannon Full. I'm the president of the Twin West Chamber. I joined the Chamber about 2 years ago and have 20 years of Chamber experience. But one of the biggest things that I am so excited about this is that we are forging new partnerships with a new strategic plan really focused on the local businesses here and the overall success of the community. So as I listened to the mayor's remarks this morning, there are numerous synergies between our common mission and our shared goals. And that obviously is to focus on growth and prosperity, not just for our residents, but for our businesses. And truly, the city here is, the leadership here is very innovative, very forward-thinking, really looking at how do we not just have a high quality of life here in the city of Maple Grove, but truly a high quality of place. And we're really interested in being a partner with the city in these initiatives. So just to give you a little bit of background, the Twin West Chamber is a large regional chamber. We serve 10 communities, including Maple Grove, and also some of those, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, all the way down through Plymouth, St. Louis Park, Hopkins, Minnetonka, those areas. And what we did when I came in was we really looked at the overall changing landscape of the business community. And we looked at the needs that our businesses are having and came up with a very strong, new, innovative strategic plan focused on 4 major areas. The first is really around small business growth and expansion. How do we help provide resources and access and network to our small businesses? The second is public policy. What do our businesses need as it relates to local, statewide, and national public policy to help them succeed and prosper? The third is around economic and community development. So this is where we're seeing some additional partnerships with cities around how can we work together to really do more business retention and expansion outreach, making sure our companies are getting all of the resources that they need. And so that's one piece that's really growing quickly. And then the fourth one is the one that we hear the most about. So we have, and that's all talent and workforce related. So the Twin West Chamber has about 750 members. Interestingly enough, 69% of those have 15 employees or less. So there is a tremendous amount of our marketplace that is small businesses. But one thing that we know is true no matter what size of the company, no matter what type of industry, whether it's medical, retail, manufacturing, professional services, if I am a small company or a massive corporation, the ability to attract, retain, and develop talent is a really significant one. It is a challenge for every business owner that I speak to on a daily basis. It's also a challenge for us to retain the talent that we have here as it relates to a pipeline, making sure that our relationships are really strong with our school districts and that we have an ability to connect students, so that whether that be high school students or post-secondary students, with career exploration opportunities. And at the end of the day, the reality of it is it's all based upon relationships. How do we help form relationships with students with existing workforce so that they want to keep their families here and that we can continue to provide talent pipeline that's strong for our businesses. So I was really excited when we had a conversation with the City Council a few months back around these needs that we're hearing from many of you local businesses in the room today. And we took a very innovative approach to say, okay, let's look at a public-private partnership that we can truly leverage relationships and resources to regionalize our strategy around talent workforce. Because the other thing that we're hearing from our businesses is that this is not just a city challenge. This is not just even a regional metro challenge. It's a challenge for the entire state of Minnesota. But how can we come together to really make a difference in this? And so Brent's going to talk a little bit about more of the specifics of this initiative and what we're looking at. But I commend the city because there is a lot of foresight into what a partnership could look like, as well as we've got some development from a technology standpoint. So we have we're in a beta version of a technology platform that will seamlessly connect. The one thing we hear from businesses is, I would love to engage with my local school districts or with my post-secondary, but there needs to be a seamless way for me to do so. And so this technology software will actually allow you, any of you as residents, as business leaders, as city staff members, as elected officials, to put in a professional profile that then could be searched by all of our educators so that you could be asked to come in and guest instruct in a classroom, job shadow, internship, both for teachers and for students. And so it's a very cutting edge approach to expanding a network and truly leveraging some resources and relationships. But we're looking forward to this, and we have already seen some very early wins. So we have formalized partnerships with 5 of our school districts, Osseo District being one of those. So again, thank you to the leadership at the Osseo School District for looking at this approach and leveraging us as a partner. But also Hopkins, St. Louis Park, Minnetonka, and Wayzata school districts, as well as Lionsgate Academy. And what we're finding is that we are increasing the amount of exposure for students to this area, and we're creating a talent pipeline that will be unmatched for others and unparalleled for others, for our local businesses of all sizes and all types. So I'll step out of the way and let Brent take it over. But I'll leave you with this, that if any of this is of interest to you, or if you've got a challenge in your own business, or you're looking at, as the mayor talked about, even filling the succession plans in the pipeline for the city, how do we create additional visibility and a new image for your company? We want to help you do that. This is not a membership thing. This isn't about who's a member of the chamber and who isn't. It's really about partnership and aligned missions. So we'd love to have you engage with us. Again, thank you to the city leadership for your support, and now the new partnership. We're really looking forward to growing and having everyone prosper because of it. So I'll turn it over to Brent.
Thank you, Shannon. Yes, go ahead, please, by all means. Mr. Mayor and the council members, thank you for having us here today. I'm going to start with a question. Okay? How many of you, by a show of hands, remember high school? How many of you, by a show of hands, remember it fondly? Oh, not quite as many. Now, I'm a former teacher, and I got to tell you, as a former teacher, we're excited about what it is that the Opportunity Connect initiative is going to lead us and where it is going to lead us. You know, as a teacher, one of the things that I always looked for was how we can augment our lessons in the classroom. How can we make it so that our students are career, and if this is their choice, college ready? How can we really make it so that they've got tremendous experiences? Because in the end, what we're really trying to do as educators is all about student achievement and trying to meet them wherever they are in that process. And we really wanted to help students cast vision. And you know, I've been blessed to be in the education world, and I've also been blessed to be a part of the business world. And in that business world, we are trying to find the best employees possible. We're trying to retain this incredible workforce and really build a talent pipeline and really create brand recognition. And really, if there's one thing that I wanted to share with you here today, one of the takeaways, the one takeaway, okay, is this. We are trying to bridge education to employment through the Opportunity Connect initiative. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you a little bit of a preview. These are initial pieces of data in the pilot that we're working on with some of these schools, and really give you some insight into what both the students and the business professionals have shared in this very first semester that we've been working on. And so I want you to think about it this way. What if our businesses could, and I'm going to give you some stories here today, what if our businesses could impact the lives of multiple K-12 students? This is Joanna from the Metropolitan Council coming and working in one of our classrooms. This happens to be Lionsgate Academy. And so what happens is that we're trying to bring business professionals to the schools, as well as bring the students to the site of the business, right? And that can be intimidating for people with advanced degrees. And what we want to try to do is curate that relationship, help that business professional have a great amount of success when they're working with our students. And so what our students have said in this first semester of this pilot is that it has been enjoyable and engaging, and they have learned something new. Now, what if, too, we could help create brand awareness? One of our champions in the business world is a person by the name of Peter Bonfey for his heating and air company. And he brought a group of our St. Louis Park students, transition students, out to his site. And in that site, not only were we talking about what's Bonfey, but we were talking about where could you lead your career based on the curriculum that you're using right now in St. Louis Park High School. And as a teacher, a former teacher, that excites me, right? That means I can take my curriculum and I can help the students cast vision into what it is that they want to become. And so 77% of the students said, oh yeah, I learned a little bit about this industry. And what if we could help create a future talent pipeline, right? This actually happens to be at Emerson Automation. I'm going to talk a little bit about this in just a minute. But Brad, can you raise your hand in back there, Brad Swenson? Can you raise your hand? Brad is working right now with us, okay, in a couple of our schools. And he's working intensely on projects with 10 of our students, right? With 10 of our students, roughly 10 of our students. Now, what we've asked our students after they've participated in experiences like working with Brad is, are you more likely to want to work at places like Emerson? And what we've discovered is that the answer is yes. I mean, imagine this. If you were to walk into a classroom knowing at the end that half of the students would say, wow, I am more or much more interested in working for your company after hearing from you, that's a win. That's a win. And that's what excites us here with Opportunity Connect. And also, what we're trying to do with our employers is give them the opportunity for skill-based opportunities, right? Where we can take some of our young professionals, put them into situations, into classrooms where they're working with junior high school kids, where they're working with Gen Z, so that those Gen Z future employees, they've got that access, right? And the businesses have said, wow, I really like this. They've given us high ratings. They've given us high Net Promoter Scores. Well, what about the teachers? What do the teachers feel about this? This is Drake from Lake State, Kumbocha, also in one of our schools. And he was teaching in a business classroom, he was teaching young entrepreneurs the good, the bad, and the ugly about what entrepreneurship is all about, right? The teachers have given this a 10 out of 10 rating and the Net Promoter Score of 81. So even the teachers, so we got the teachers saying they like this, the business saying they like this, and the students like it too. So I want to give you insight into a little more in-depth insight into how this can work. This is with two parties. One party is Emerson Rosemount, who is this large manufacturing organization in Shakopee. And they're a global business, okay? The other is St. Louis Park Public Schools. And you're going to see here on the upper left-hand side, this is Mark, and I'm going to introduce you to Mark in this video in just a second. Mark is an engineering teacher, a remarkable engineering teacher with St. Louis Park Schools. Over here is Cara. Cara is our CTE coordinator in St. Louis Park. The person's hands on the left-hand side, right? This is the idea generation out at the business with the teachers and the business working together to say, hey, let's put together a challenge that your students will use using your curriculum, Mark, and let's bring them not only to Emerson, but let's bring some of our staff there and let's see what happens. So you can see the staff came into the classroom and then some remarkable things were created. So I want to share with you the students' vantage point as well as the business vantage point in doing that.
Hello, I'm Andrea Firstam from Twin West Chamber of Commerce, and we're here today at Emerson, where we'll be joined by a number of different high school students who have been working back at the school with Emerson employees on a project, getting feedback, and they'll be presenting that project today and getting input from the Emerson team, as well as touring the facility, learning more about careers here, both at Emerson and in the industry, and being able to ask questions. This is one of many examples of how we are connecting students, educators, and business to develop a talent pipeline for our region as part of our Opportunity Connect initiative through Twin West.
Emerson believes very strongly in being active in the community, and it also believes very strongly in employee development. I first was a parent of a high school student who participated in this program and saw firsthand just the terrific benefits that my son got from the program, and I wanted to extend that to other students. From Emerson's perspective as a company, being part of this program obviously creates relationships with prospective interns and employees at a very early age.
It's been really valuable to me as an employee and as an individual here to be able to give back to my community and see that my company cares and is interested in staying involved and being involved in upcoming students. Today it's been really fun working with the students and seeing what they're interested in and what they can learn from us, not just from what we do day to day, but kind of our paths and how we've gotten here was more what the students were interested in.
We partnered with Emerson, and I think it's been an outstanding opportunity for students to try a real-world problem and work as a team to solve a challenge from real engineers. And when you make it real, all of a sudden the work becomes enjoyable and the product becomes outstanding.
My perception of engineering and what engineering actually is completely different. I came here and there's office spaces and there's break rooms and stuff, and it's not just a factory. And that's really changed my perception of what engineering is and how it really functions all together and how it's all interconnected.
It takes multiple different people to put together something that's actually bigger than them. We learned how different people can interact with each other and how different people can utilize their strengths to formulate the project that will potentially be made and put out in the market.
This project has given me an outlet for like the other aspects of engineering, such as like marketing or logistics and stuff for a project, which I think is like equally as valuable as just engineering. So like the variation within the field is immense.
Okay, so postscript on that particular event is this. 80% of the students walked away saying they were more or much more interested in working at Emerson, okay? That's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help these students cast vision into what it is that they can become from the classroom teachers and their perspective as well as the business person's perspective. And lastly, I shared that yesterday at a meeting of a number of teachers. And one of those teachers that was a part of this project said, hey, you know, that's not the end of the story, Brent. They said this, they said, you know, of the students that went there, there is one that said, you know what, I am never going to get into engineering. And I said, hallelujah. I said, hallelujah. They've discovered in high school that that's not the path that they want to take. However, what that young man discovered was that project management was what it was that he wants to do. And Jennifer, that was in that video, Jennifer happens to be a project manager. So we're connecting those students to new things that they might not have ever seen in their lives. So what we are asking for is, there's a lot of business folks in this room. We need you to get involved in the lives of our students. Now, I am a teacher, so I got to ask you to do something here really quick because I know I'm short on time. I want you to turn to a neighbor next to you at your table, and in 50 seconds, I want you to ask them, what can our businesses do to get more involved in K-12 education? On your marks, get set, talk. All right. I hear the good buzz in the air. Thank you for sharing those comments. I know it's hard to do that in 50 seconds. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. Here's the thing. If you want to get involved, come and see us. Come and see us. We're sitting right here at table number 4. You can share your business card with us. We will reach out to you, right? And or you can take our business card too, because we want employers of all sizes. We want the city. We want the community involved. Because as a teacher, there's nothing greater than helping those students cast vision into what it is that they can become. I thank you.
Thank you, Brent and Shannon. Again, they're located right at the table here, so if you'd like to ask some questions afterwards, I'm sure they would be happy to answer. They might just have a real